Today, Volume 3, Beginner's Guide, Imperial Fist Style. Yo dog, Kenny Boucher here, Next Level Painting, hitting you up on the literal best of all days. Here in the Beats Lab in Hollywood, California, we're doing it again. Today, Volume 3, Beginner's Guide, we're going to be taking that Imperial Fist Space Marine Captain that we were working on last week. We're taking them to the tabletop. We're going to bang out all the details. We're going to totally finish them today, take them to that tournament standard and beyond, and then next time we'll take them to the absolute next level. And that will finally conclude our Beginner's Guide series, how to actually paint a model. I recognize I'm bombarding the senses on multiple levels. I have a Next Level Painting t-shirt on. I have a different camera angle and a fresh new haircut. None of these are permanent. Let me shout out a couple of clutch individuals over on Patreon. Yo, I got my man Jaster, Rifter, Victor, Andy, Philip, and Daniel. Literally cannot do it without you guys. Came in so clutch this week. If you guys don't know what Patreon is, it is my personal crowdfunding page, and it gives you guys VIP access to all these videos and more. Let's do it. All right, guys, let's jump right into it. Army Painter Wargamer brushes. This is the high-end brush that Army Painter makes. I've been using them on and off all week. We're going to be using Thalmor Black. Let's get started. All right, here is that 30K Imperial Fist Captain we were working on. Last week, yellow was secretly easy. And today, what we're doing is tracing. We are basically just tracing out all this trim. We're choosing to use black. We're trying to capture some of those 30K colors, and black and yellow are very striking together. The trick here is to not get this black on the yellow. The way you do that is you have the right brush for the job. I like to use a very small brush for this. I'm using a non-synthetic brush. It's a sable hair brush. They're more absorbent, less dipping required. I am using thin coats, but on the more skinny trim areas that we're tracing in, I'm using less water and more paint. Because if it's too watery, sometimes it can get outside the borders, and then that's when you get some paint on that clutch yellow you airbrushed. So those are my two big things from this section of the video. Is when it's real skinny, it's a tiny little trim border, be a little thicker with the paint, but don't go crazy thick. But on those bigger areas like his face shields and everything, we're using much thinner coats, maybe even 2 coats. So we're just working it up. We're staying busy in the Beats Lab, making sure to hit all them trim spots, working this brush out. I use this brush a lot on my decimators I was painting on and off all week. Just beating them up, seeing how they stand up to my abuse, and then using them today in this video. So far, I'm pretty happy with them. I think they're a pretty solid and affordable brush. Not the best brush. Definitely not the worst brush though, but the price is right for sure. So check them out right here. Looking good. Feeling it. Liking how striking the black looks up against the yellow. Fabulous. All right, guys, let's switch the gears. This is Sanguine Base from P3. We're going to use this to start building up those reds, those iconic reds against the yellow that Imperial Fists are known for. So we're just going to start slowly building it up. Now this brush is probably a little too small for some of these spots, so I'm going real slow, real thin, multiple coats with these reds for sure. All right, here we go. Get these tassels in. It's a little bit easier, but I am going with thin coats, guys. Be super thin here. Do 2, even 3 coats if you have to. That's the biggest advice I can give to a beginner in this stage, is don't build up those paints. Don't come on too thick. Use water. Don't be afraid to use water. Don't be afraid to let the paint show through from the previous layer. Like that yellow is definitely showing through that red. All right, we're going to switch gears, scale 75, then make some of the easiest metallic paints to apply in the game. This will really help you out as a beginner. Boom, it's almost one done here. That's a bright ass metallic. I like going real bright on my metallics when I know I'm going to be washing them down with some heavy black washes. So it's definitely one of my OG systems. Gangster times. All right, so there it is. We've done a few coats on the red. On the black is looking strong. We're just tidying up that combi melta, making it look its best. We still got to bang out a couple more pieces of detail. He's got an awesome chainsaw hand. So, you know, just go in there and hit the teeth. These are all the little details. This is that paint by number system right here. A lot of times, all you gotta do is just make sure to paint all the details. So we decided that we want to come in here and paint that face guard, that spit trap, whatever that is. Make sure that the grill, oh, it's his grill, obviously, that's what it is. I'm not a teeth scientist, but I do believe that's called a grill. And we're gonna paint that metallic, and then we're gonna paint all the other grills metallic. All right, let's switch to Mephiston red real quick. This is where we're gonna start really building up the red. So we establish a nice base coat with that Sanguine Base, and we're almost gonna just completely go over it with Mephiston red. It's a different red. Now it's the same concept as the metallics, which are very bright. We're gonna make this red really bright because of the wash game. So I always like to take the colors to 11 before we apply the wash, because the wash will take it back to 10. Too easy, keep it thin. 2 coats if you need to, but I think you can get away here with 1 thin coat over that Sanguine Base, which is doing most of the work. Too easy. All right, same deal, but except we're gonna kind of trace out the shield on his crotchal region. I want to say the cock shield. We're gonna hit that up, trace it out, give it a nice little highlight. He's got a couple of shields on his shoulders. We did the same thing too, making sure everything's looking its best. All right, just rapid fire, Midland Flesh, P3. We're gonna do a quick thin coat, and this will stick to the yellow real easy. 1 thin coat, 1 and done. Flesh is real easy, I promise. He's got a couple of doodads hanging out of his face, and we're gonna paint those black. Same kind of deal, the cybernetic implants, cables and shit. Real good in black against the lightness of his skin. A lot of times I paint those things metallic, but I wasn't feeling it here. Pow. He looks like a gangster. Look at this guy. All right. The cock tassels have like a strap on the bottom of them or something. We're just painting them black. Keeping the colors in the same ballpark here. That's a real solid piece of advice for beginners too, is you don't have to go too crazy, man. Just you can keep your color palette kind of limited for shout. Evil Sun Scarlet, this is one of GW's brightest and best colors. We're gonna just basically trace out some highlights on the reds. This is the part that I was talking about earlier, that stage where we're taking it to 11 on the colors in preparation for our wash game. So we're not trying to undo the Mephiston red, we're just augmenting it with some nice bright highlights, popping it out, taking it to that maximum level. All day, every day. Same deal with everything like the shield, reinforce all your little traces. You basically do not want to undo what you did, but you want to add to it. So you got to kind of do everything again, but skinnier. All right, another beginner tip right here, Dark Earth Vallejo. Don't buy any of them expensive pumices, buy this. Here are some tools I like. That's the GW texture tool and a GW base brush. That's what GW paintbrushes look like after about 3 uses. So we're going to use the paintbrush to jam this pumice. Also, they make great pumice appliers. So I'm going to jam this pumice down in the base, get some good build up, just push it left and right, pull it up and down, do all sorts of just cool things. Don't be afraid to pile it on. It will dry. It doesn't matter how thick it is. So get some good texture, experiment with, dabbing it on, piling it on. It will be fine. And then the GW texture tool is actually a pretty fun little tool. It's got 2 sides, flat scraper and skinny flat scraper. I don't know, small and medium. And these tools are really good for jamming it up in between his legs and getting it right up against his toes without getting it all over the model. It's one of the only GW tools that I actually like for the cost. I like a lot of their tools. I don't like the cost. Yo, so there it is. You see, pushing it right up against his toes. Everything. Too easy. Now, this will take, an hour to dry. So you got to stay busy in the Beats Lab. Get it all laid down. Do multiple things while you're waiting for multiple things to dry. It's that simple. So we have other tasks to accomplish. Let's start washing this model. This is the fun stuff. Strong tone from the Army Painter. Quick shade mixing medium. This is the good stuff right here, man. So we're just going to take the strong tone, just apply it liberally over all the reds. Make sure that it settles in the crevices, creating contrast. That's the name of the game. Look how much more dynamic it already looks, guys. You always got to get them nuts ringed, get the lines there and the tassels, everything. This is my favorite part of the process because all models look the same until you take them to the next level. We are a few strokes away from having a model that will look great on the tabletop with a whole army standing side by side. The cool thing though is that you can play with your army with this. Like, you can totally go to a tournament with all your models set up this way that I'm about to show you, but still in your spare time you could be adding extra details. That's what I love about this system. So now we're going to switch to dark tone, which is basically black, and we're going to wash all the metals, all those silvers. It's going to give us a lot of contrast. It's going to antique it. It's going to look amazing with very little effort. No crazy highlighting or anything. That's simple. That's what I love about these Army Painter washes. They're absolutely the best washes I've ever used. I've been painting for a long time. Love them. Pull out a bigger brush if you for things like that combi weapon. Use smaller brushes, when you're getting up against the yellows. You don't want to get the wash on the yellow. That's not what it's for. It's for the silvers. That's what I love about their very robust, lineup of washes, is that you can pick the right wash for the right job. Now, as much as I love GW washes, I think they're one of the best sets of washes. I don't think they make great selection of different colors that interact in a way that it's desirable. There's a lot of coffee staining sometimes in GW washes, even though I still love them. There's no coffee staining here. Look at this. Just drops right into where it needs to. There's not gonna be any weird white drying or anything. Flush wash, we're gonna bang this down. Just drop some on his face real quick. Pow. Get in the eyes, get in the brow ridge, get on the nose. Just that simple. Gives him a nice, clean, realistic effect. Okay, while all that's drying, we're gonna just rim the base. I always rim my bases black. I can go on my soapbox about why you should do this too, but I'm not even gonna bother you. Do whatever you want. Just paint the rims. Strong tone. We're gonna go back to strong tone now that all of this pumice is dry. And we're gonna do a quick strong tone wash to create some definition, some texture here on our texture. Makes it a lot more realistic. I don't like having unpainted elements on painted models. So this quick application of this wash will totally transform him, and he will be a tabletop model. This dude will be 100% ready. This is my opinion. That's the minimum for a tabletop miniature right here. You see how easy that was? But don't worry, guys. Next week, we'll take him to the next level. Play on, players.